I'm Professor Hatter, and I'm making a somewhat quick draft reaction video to the NBA draft from last night. I made the draft hat video the other day. Go watch it. It's a little long, but go for it. And I'm gonna make a reaction video now. I didn't follow too much of the scouting during the college basketball season. I watch college basketball a lot. I like it. I root for Illinois and Michigan State, and I didn't really follow throughout the season of who's going to be the draft pick here or there. I more paid attention to all that draft hype once the conference championship tournament started and the March Madness started. Number one pick went to DeAndre Ayton. He went to Phoenix, and it'll be a good fit for him, I'm sure, because number one pick, they'll always find a fit for the number one pick. But hearing all the hype on ESPN and everywhere else, Sports Illustrated, etc., he's going to be a huge franchise player, or one of the big men from this draft, one of the tallest drafts they said in years, and Ayton will come out as one of the tallest standing left. Duke kid Bagwell III went to the Kings. Luka Doncic went to the Hawks, that was drafted by the Hawks, and then was traded to Dallas later on. I thought Trae Young was drafted by Dallas at pick number 5, and that seemed really high. I didn't follow the scouting per se during the season of college basketball, but I did follow how much of a cliff Trae Young and Oklahoma fell off of come conference play during the regular season of college basketball, and just fell. They just were garbage after the first of the calendar year. So for Trae Young to be drafted at number 5, I wouldn't have suspected him to be a top 10 even. Lottery pick, yes, because of all the Steph Curry comparisons and Trae Young having all those high numbers for points and assists. But number 5 was high. Mo Bamba went to the Magic, which is a good pick. I mean, he was the next best available player in the draft at that point. I was watching the draft on my phone at my church before a band rehearsal, and the Bulls were up for their pick. And all I was hoping was, don't F up like you did last year with the whole trade of Jimmy Butler to Minnesota for, at the time, we thought nothing. I mean, it's kind of panned out to be decent, but it was still a huge debacle, huge mess that Garpax, the two owners, made. And when Adam Silver came up to the podium, he said, "Oh, we have a early trade to announce." And I thought, I hope the Bulls didn't F up again this year. And they mentioned Luka Doncic at first. I'm like, oh, did we get him? Did we pick up Doncic? That'd be a pretty good pickup. But then they said, Adam Silver said Doncic was traded to Dallas for Trae Young. So I was like, okay. But then he announced the Bulls picked Wendell Carter Jr., power forward / center out of Duke. So that was a pretty good pickup, actually. Another big man, tall guy coming from the draft. If the Magic hadn't picked Mo Bamba, then the Bulls should have taken Mo Bamba. But Wendell Carter Jr. was the next available tall man. Kind of going through the rest of the draft briefly. the Nuggets had a risky pick by taking Michael Porter Jr. from Missouri. It's a good pick, even with the back injuries. Those players who are injury prone are the risks. But Denver took a good risk. I like Denver a bit. I'm a Denver Broncos fan, and when I played Park District basketball in 2nd and 3rd grade, I played for the Nuggets, so I kind of like the Nuggets a bit. So it was good for them. Glad that they had a nice, risky pick, but I think it'll pay off. So I tweeted out to the Utah Jazz a few hours before the draft saying, do not draft Grayson Allen. Whatever you do not draft Grayson Allen. He is a trash player. I don't want him. Take a small forward if you need to. So then I'm sitting in band at church, and I have my iPad on the music stand with my music, and my phone on the other next to it, and I'm playing, looking back and forth with my trombone, looking back and forth, music, draft, and I see the Utah Jazz are on the clock. I'm like, okay. At that point, I realized that we already had Joe Ingles and Jay Crowder, so we're kind of good on the small forward position. So maybe a power forward, the Robert Williamson kid, or the power forward out of Texas A&M was going to be a good pick. So I'm playing, and the clock goes to 0. So I'm just waiting, and
with the 21st pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Grayson Allen from Duke University.
It says Grayson Allen, and I'm shaking. I'm like, don't yell. And it's like, you guys didn't listen. No one listens to me. What a shame. I mean, Grayson Allen is a good player on the court. His numbers are good. His sophomore season, it was one of the best seasons he had, and then it kind of deteriorated from there. But for a Duke kid to stay around for 4 years, that's pretty impressive. It's just that his sportsmanship of tripping players and then playing I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I'm not guilty. That act, it didn't bode well, and really wanted him to be suspended for more games than he wasn't. Speaking of 4, I have 4 expectations for Grayson Allen. But my 4 expectations for Grayson Allen are to, 1, try to be a bit cocky at first in the first few games of the season. Not necessarily trip people like he did before, but he's going to be cocky. He's going to be up in everyone's face that he plays, and he's going to get decked by one of the big backcourt guys and just decked to the ground. That's going to be hilarious. I'm going to want to see that firsthand. Second expectation is for him to struggle at the beginning of the season. With the suspension that he's probably going to get for about 2-3 games, I think, he will have a low ball first half, and then third expectation will be for him to eventually mold out of that, and Donovan Mitchell will groom him in a way, even though they're only a year apart in professional basketball career standards. Donovan Mitchell will groom him up to be a good backup. Because I was also surprised how the Jazz selected a shooting guard. Because they already have Donovan Mitchell, who's fantastic, of course. And then O'Neal is another good guard that the Jazz have. But Grayson Allen will take up that expectation of being Donovan Mitchell's good backup. And then fourth expectation is that he will come out of that rut of his first half of the season. Maybe not as much as I said before, maybe exaggeration. But Grayson Allen, by the end of the season, will be in talks. He might not get the recognition, but Grayson Allen could be in talks for the second all-rookie team. He'll have great numbers. He had decent numbers at the end of his Duke career, but he will come out in talks of the all-rookie second team. He'll be decent. He'll come out helping the Jazz, and the Jazz will be a top 4 seed in the West. So in terms of the rest of the draft, I like how Lakers got a big man, Mo Wagner. I felt bad for Mikal Bridges, whose mom worked for the 76ers. He lives in Philly, went to Villanova in Philly, got drafted by the 76ers, and then got traded to the Suns. It's a good pickup for the Suns. Suns ultimately won the draft, I think. But I kind of feel bad for Bridges, kind of that betrayal. The process sometimes is ruthless. Hilarious how Lonnie Walker of Miami, great player, his hat wouldn't fit on his big hair that he had going, his big hairdo. Kind of funny. Maybe the NBA will have to adopt visors for the next draft hat collection. And of course, New York fans had to boo the selection. Controversy, debate between picking Porter Jr. or Knox. Porter Jr. was the better selection or better option with talent, but he had that injury proneness to him. He had to miss the whole season, and I guess it didn't bode well with the Knicks war room. So of course, the Knicks fans had to boo Kevin Knox, and New York Knicks fans, they're just miserable all the time. So, the draft was a good show. Second round went quicker than the first, of course. Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Probably the last NBA video I'll make until the preseason. My goal is to get at least 2 Bulls hats, probably another Jazz hat with all blue, all navy, and maybe get a Denver Nuggets hat. One of those old powder blue hats. So that is all from me, from the professor. Hats off to you for watching, and I'll see you next time.